I do wonder where you have all come. Is it out of curiosity? Or it's a lovely morning, it's an outing for you? Or are we serious enough to face all our problems which are mounting and find out for ourselves if we can resolve them? And as it is not possible to have a discussion with so many people or have a dialogue, then we can have a conversation together, which is that you and the speaker are walking along a shady lane full of shadows and running waters, and are talking about their own problems, problems which confront all humanity. Not only each one of us, but also what every human being in the world is going through. And as we were pointing out yesterday, we have assumed our consciousness as something being separate, personal, individual. But as one observes deeply, this consciousness, which is the common ground of all humanity, the common suffering, pain, anxiety, loneliness, and great uncertainty, and the everlasting search for security is the problem of every human being in the world. It's not yours particular problem, it's the problem, it is the issue of all human beings, whether they be Christian, Muslim, Hindu or Buddhist. So we are talking over together amicably, in a friendly spirit, the issues of our life. And as this is the last talk, we cannot go over all the things we have had conversation about during the last 5 talks. But we can summarize the whole thing. Most of us are apt to take one special problem and try to resolve them, or come here hoping that someone else will help you to overcome or resolve or transcend one's particular problem. But if one examines more acutely, critically, every problem is related to all problems. They are interrelated. They cannot possibly be separated, and having separated them, try to resolve them individually or separatively. We talked about various things during the last 5 talks. Fear, the nature of human beings who have been hurt all their life, psychologically, inwardly, and the consequences of that hurt. We went into that very, very carefully. And also we talked about relationship between human beings, man, woman, the neighbor, whether that neighbor be very, very, very far away. And in that relationship, however intimate, however personal, there is always conflict. There's always a certain sense of uneasiness, fear, domination, possessiveness, attachment. All these breed naturally a struggle between two human beings. The conflict arises. And we went into that question, whether that conflict can possibly end, or must it everlastingly continue from generation to generation. And also we talked about fear, which is a very, very, very complex problem. The contributory causes of that fear: conformity, comparison, imitation, trying to be something that you are not. All and other factors bring about fear. We went into that very deeply. And also, we talked about the continuation and the demand for pleasure, whether it is the religious pleasure or ordinary pleasure of life, sexual, the form of achievement, success, possession, money, prestige, status, and all that. And yesterday morning, we went into the question, what is love? Why do human beings? Something wrong? What's that? Remove this?
The left shoulder sweater is on.
Oh, right shoulder. Is that all right? We talked about yesterday morning why human beings have destroyed that one perfume, the absolute necessity in life, without which life has no meaning whatsoever. You may have lots of money, enjoy yourself on the sea, go to various churches, follow various gurus, accept various philosophies as the way of your life. But without that quality and that perfume, that passion, which is different from lust, that comes about when there is love. We went into that sufficiently, extensively yesterday morning. And also, we talked about the ending of suffering. why human beings, so highly educated, in one direction so extraordinarily intelligent in the technological world, why human beings who have lived on this marvelous earth millennia upon millennia, why they have not understood or ended suffering. Not only personal suffering, but the suffering of mankind, where there is starvation in Africa and in the East, in India, where poverty is destructive, degrading, and other economic problems which separate mankind. And we said without nationalism, a global interrelationship alone will solve all our outward economic, social problems. We live on this earth together. It's our earth, not the American earth or the Russian earth or the Hindu or the Buddhist or the Islamic world. It's our earth. But we have divided it as nationally as the American, Russian, Chinese, Japanese, European and Hindu and so on, so on. Where there is division, racial, economic, religious divisions, there must be conflict. There must be wars. And these wars have been going on for millions of years. And our intelligence, which we give to technological world, we have not applied that intelligence to solve this problem of suffering. And we have the capacity, we have the energy, but apparently we are caught in a mechanistic world. Our culture is becoming more and more mechanical. It's a mechanistic culture, which is not only where the machine becomes all important, but also the culture, which is mechanistic, is to live a life of repetitiveness, to repeat over and over again the same, with the same problems, with the same issues, with the same conflict. And we also talked yesterday, and we shall go into it more deeply this morning, why human beings have become what they are: shadow, superficial, having learnt a great deal of life, accumulated a great deal of knowledge, and that knowledge apparently has not solved our human daily conflict. So knowledge may be one of the factors of sorrow, which we talked about yesterday morning. And we shall go into other subjects into this morning. But first, please, this is not a lecture, as it is generally understood. Lecture being talking about a particular subject and be concerned with that subject to transmit it as clearly as possible to another. So this is not a lecture, but rather a conversation between you and speaker, in which both of us are observing, thinking about the same problem, looking at the same mountain, the same trees, the blue sky. And so we are together. And the speaker means that, honestly, together, to observe these problems and to find out for ourselves, not according to some philosopher, not according to some priest, not according to authority of a guru and so on, to discard all that completely and observe for ourselves why we human beings have become so deplorably unhealthy psychologically. So please, though the speaker may put certain things into words, but the words are not the actual. The explanation is not that which is explained. As we talked about the other day too, we are caught in a network of words. And words become extraordinarily important. The word American has an extraordinary significance to the people who live in this part of the world. Or the word communist, socialist, capitalist, and so on, Baptist and Catholic. So words are not the actuality. The symbol is not the actual. So please, if one may point out most respectfully, what we are explaining, what we are going into, is merely explanation, usage of certain words. But the words, the explanation, are not the real. We ought to talk over together what is culture. The ordinary meaning of that word is to cultivate. As you cultivate vegetables, a garden, a rose bed. Culture implies not a repetitive, mechanical existence, but to be free from the known and act from that known and from that freedom. That's actually culture. That is, we live always in the known. Please kindly follow all this if you're interested. It's a nice morning, and you may treat this gathering as an entertainment, which would be most unfortunate, as a kind of mental stimulation, a drug. But if you treat this as a form of a stimulation, then you lose the reality of one's own life, of one's own shallowness, one's own emptiness, one's own fears, anxieties, and all the travail of life. So please, as the speaker puts into words, examine that which he says for yourself. Because doubt, skepticism, is a great purifier. Most of us are so easily accept things, especially in religious matters, in so-called spiritual matters. Their authority assumes it knows and you don't know. They act as interpreters. But it is necessary to discover what is truth. There must be doubt. And doubt in the Eastern world, in the Eastern religions, have been emphasized. In the Christian world, doubt is an anathema. Because if you doubt the whole structure of the church, whether it be local or from Rome or any other, if you doubt it, then the whole thing collapses. So, in the Western world, doubt has been condemned. They have been burnt, those who doubted, called heresy. They have been tortured, as they are doing now political prisoners in various parts of the world. It's the same phenomenon. So, please don't accept a thing what the speaker is saying, but try to find out for yourself by carefully listening, if you are interested. If you don't treat this as an entertainment, then please listen and doubt and question and ask. You are doubting that which you have created yourself. You are doubting your own ideas, your own conclusions, your own experiences, your beliefs, your faiths. You are doubting so that you find out for yourself what is truth. And that is very important, because truth demands a free mind, a mind that is completely free. And there is no path to truth. So please, as we are going into this very complex problem, let us listen carefully with certain quality of doubt. To doubt requires sensitivity. If you doubt everything, then this becomes rather stupid. But to doubt with light hand, with a quick mind, with subtlety, then the doubt brings about clarity, energy. And we need energy to go into all these problems, to resolve them. So we're asking, what is culture? Is it merely the mechanical repetition of the known? Which is, we live in the past. The past is our memory. The past is our knowledge through experience. And we live always in the past, in the known. And when we act from the known, it is repetitive. We must act in certain areas with knowledge, like a scientist. He has to have a great deal of knowledge. Or a great surgeon must have experience. He must have operated upon many, accumulated knowledge, skill, and the sensitivity of hand. And there, knowledge is necessary. And knowledge, which is all our remembrances, all the past incidents, the hurts, the fears, the longings, the despairs, the desperate loneliness, all that's part of our past knowledge. And when we are acting from the past, it must be repetitive. And therefore, the mind becomes mechanical. The computer is a repetitive machine, maybe quicker, faster than the human brain. But that machine is repetitive, as we human beings are. And so we are questioning any culture born from the past, from the known, obviously is mechanical, repetitive. And so we are going to find out what is it that brings about a culture which is totally different from the mechanistic culture